Hey guys, today on this video, I'm going to show you how to make this trap in my previous video. This one is a store-bought one, purchased it off of Amazon for less than 10 bucks. But I'm going to show you how you can make these out of dollar store buys for less than 10 bucks for two of them. So stay tuned and I'll show you what you need. So in the previous video that you saw me and my daughter giving these a test run, this is the trap that we built and tested. I have a few little mods that I'm gonna do to it, such as this, to make a better opening for the crawfish to climb into. This is optional, you don't have to do it. And I'm gonna show you how I did it, and we'll go from there. So the first step is going to the dollar store and finding the components you're gonna need. Come check it out. So what we're gonna start with is some little waste baskets. These little waste baskets, they're $1 a piece. You just get 2 of them for each trap. So you're gonna go like this, 2 of them, each trap is gonna zip tie together. And then what you can do is buy some zip ties from the dollar store. $1 bag, you can buy a few bags of them. Never hurts to have extra zip ties. Next you're gonna do is, they have this rope, if they have this rope there. It was $1 a piece. It's 25 feet of rope and it's twisted poly rope. Optional, I have some shrink tubing. I already had this, so it didn't cost me. And I have a heat gun to shrink it. You can just use a normal lighter. Once again, like I said, another option is this here. I'm gonna make these for the opening. If you come look at this, there's an opening here where the crawfish can climb into. What I'm gonna do is cut the bottom off of this and insert it into here and widen that hole a little bit so that it goes in and ties. You don't have to do that. That is purely optional. I'm gonna do it because it makes it look a little nicer. Without doing that, the traps are gonna be even cheaper. I think in total, I spent for all of the materials here to make 2 more traps, 2 traps here, was less money than buying 2 traps on Amazon. Something else you may want to include is a couple of 2-liter bottles like I have there as an example. Those will act as buoys. You can use them, but make sure you put your ID number, your fishing license ID number on them so that, you know, if you place them in a lake or wherever you place them, they can be identified as yours, and you can find them when you need to. So we will get to set up and get to the next step in just a moment. Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna start by zip tying the 2 trash cans together. And don't worry about those little spaces, because as you cinch down the zip ties, it's gonna pull it in tight and close to each other. Something else I forgot to mention that you're gonna need is a pair of wire cutters or clippers so that you can cut off these excess ends. So I'm gonna go ahead and zip tie this together. I will speed it up in a time lapse, and as soon as I'm done, we'll go on to the next part. Now we have it all zip tied together. If you look, it's not perfect and it doesn't have to be perfect. Just so long as the crawfish can't climb out or push their way through in between here. And I think that that's more than enough zip ties to stop them from doing that. After you zip tie it, clip off the excess bits, throw them away, keep them, do whatever you want with them. Next you go through, and what you're gonna do is put it on its side, and you want to find out where you want your trap door to be, like this. And it's kind of hard to see with all the wires, but there's the cutout. And we'll do that next on here. And I usually I just find about a spot where my hand is, and I just cut along that line here and along the line over there, and then back over this way. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and we'll come right back. So I switched up from those little wire clippers to some tin snips, just because they're much faster at it, and I can get in there a little easier with just that fine tip that it has. Next, what you do is you'll peel that back, and that's where you'll reach in, put your bait in, or whatever like that. You'll take it, you flip it open, dump your crawfish out, anything like that. Next step we're gonna do is we're going to cut the little ends in here. And all we have to do is come around to this end over here and just cut right across the middle, and then push it in, and we flare it out like we did with that. Okay, so now we've got those openings. They're not pretty or anything like that, but that's okay, because all they do is serve the purpose of letting the crawfish climb in, and they can't climb back out. They're not quite smart enough to get back out. The next step that you want to do, and your trap's done at that point, and all you have to do to reseal your trap is to take a simple bread tie like this, and you come over here, you put your bait in there, you'll attach your rope, you close this down, and you'll just run a little bread tie like this, and you can just go in between here and there like that, and just twist it closed. That's enough to keep it there shut, so they can't get back out, and they can't force it back through, because they don't really climb up, and they're more concerned about your food or whatever else you have in here. The next step we're gonna do is we're gonna show you how we built the rope for it. And that's quick and easy. We're gonna just move over here to one of these packages. Here's the rope here. And what we're gonna do is get it open, get it ready. So we'll pull it out like this. And it comes cut, and if you can see, like, the end's a little frayed. And they melt the end a little bit just to keep it from fraying any more than that. But what I tend to do is I tend to come along with a lighter, burn the end, and squeeze it. This end is a little bit more sealed on here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the lighter, I'm gonna seal this end, and then I'll show you what we do from there. Okay, so the next step we're gonna do is we're gonna burn the end of it so that it doesn't fray anymore. What you want to do is get a pair of gloves for this part, because it's gonna get hot. And so what we'll do is we'll put these guys on like this, we'll take the end of our rope, and we'll burn it like this. And we'll just get it good and hot. And as you can see, as it heats up, the little ends start to fray and pull in towards itself. And once you get it good and hot and it looks all melty, what you'll do is squish it together, just like so. And that's the purpose of the gloves, because you don't want to burn your finger. So I did this last time and I burned the heck out of my finger. Okay, then the next thing you're gonna do, once you do that, is you're gonna take this thing. This is an optional step. I happen to have them already. If you do, I recommend it. If you don't have these, I recommend getting some. It just secures it a little bit more. So I put one on the rope here. And what we'll do is we're going to pass it through the top of the trap like so. We're just gonna thread it into here. And I'm gonna stick my hand inside so that I can thread it back through the other side, so that we're going around the thick part of the bar of the trap here, right there. And I'm gonna pull my hand out. Okay, so now that's threaded in there. I'm gonna take these gloves off so I can work a little easier with my fingertips. Now, what we'll do is we're gonna pull this guy up like this, so he's nice and close here. And we're gonna take you wanna do about 3 zip ties, just so you know it's nice and secure. So if one slips off, you still have 2 more to secure it. So then what we'll do is we'll put that first zip tie on there, and we'll cinch it on down, and keeping your other hand on here so you don't lose your rope. And the first zip tie is on there. I'll pull it nice and tight. And I'll clip this tag off when I'm done with the other 2. And just do it all at once. So that's 1 zip tie, now that's held into place. I'll come around, do the second zip tie, pull it around like this. And cinch it down, and you want to cinch them down really good and tight so that it lessens the chance for it to come off. And I chose this rope, and you could probably pick this same rope up at Walmart. It might be a little more expensive, but you can get it from the dollar store. I personally went to the Dollar Tree. That's local to me here. If you have one, you can get all the same products. If you don't, you can pretty much find this stuff at every dollar store across anywhere that's anywhere. So then once I get those cinched down good and tight, and there's all 3 of them in there, and it's good and not gonna go anywhere, I'm gonna come back behind it. I'm gonna take my snips and just snip off the ends. Just like that. Let's clean that up a little bit. Just like that. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is take this shrink tubing that's here. We're gonna slide it right on down over top of the rope and over top of those zip ties. Just slip it on all the way down just so it covers it. And that's why I had the heat gun here. And what I'll do with the heat gun is I'll plug it in and we'll heat it up. Here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and plug in our heat gun here into the extension cord. And all we're gonna do is heat up the shrink tubing. And it'll start heating up and it'll get hot pretty quick. And then you can just watch it as I do this. It'll start shrinking up around those zip ties, securing it that much further. Takes a minute for the heat gun to get good and warm, but as it does, you'll see it pull right around that rope. I'm gonna go right in here. Let's go ahead and kick this up a notch. You don't want to hold it in one place for too long, because what can happen is you can overheat your shrink tubing and then you have a problem, because then it melts it and then it's weak and it's not gonna work and not do what you want it to. So now that I've got it around there good and tight, let's make sure here is good and tight. That's it. Boom, that's a trap done. What I went and did with my earlier traps is I had these little metal bars that I just zip tied to the bottom to add as a weight. And I added a little basket inside here. It's kind of hard to see, as kind of a bait basket, which you don't really need. You can just throw something in there and that'll stop it from going anywhere. But I definitely recommend taking something and zip tying it into the bottom of the trap to create weight, because then what it does is, even if this trap were to get in the water and land on its side, what it'll do with that weight being zip tied on the bottom here is it wants to pull it right. And the reason that's important is you want the crawfish to be able to find this hole and climb it. But once you do that, and you've got your opening on either end, essentially this is good. This is ready to go. You can throw a few rocks in the bottom there and just throw it in the water and you're good to go. What you'll want to do after that is find a way to secure the other end of your rope to a 2-liter bottle. And however you do that is up to you. I haven't quite decided how I'm gonna do that yet. I may do something like that. I may make a hole in the cap and feed this through and put a knot on it and then seal it up with hot glue or something and then screw it back on there and keep it so that it keeps it afloat so it doesn't float away. Really up to you. It's up to your imagination. But I wanted to show the main part of the trap. And anything else from here is up to your imagination on how you want it to work. This works just fine. Like I said in the past video, my daughter and I tested it out. And even with cold weather and poor placement, we still got a crawfish in there. Where we had placed our trap, there was a lot of grass, so the grass kind of blocked off the holes, but still a crawfish was determined enough to get into that trap. So here we are, and that's the basic gist of the trap. And like I said, it's up to you what you want to do with your trap. But here's the basic setup, and it's good to go. Hope you enjoyed the video. Go ahead and click the like button if you like the video. Smash the subscribe button. Hit the dingy bell up in the corner so you get alerted anytime we post a new video. And I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thanks for coming along.